Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. Today I would like to run through the leaked Evocati patch notes for the first playtest of Alpha 320. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Thank you so much for the support, it is truly appreciated. And if you do enjoy my videos, please do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. So a little while back, maybe a week or two ago, CIG released a limited playtest of Alpha 320's new Arena Commander experimental mode. Now this test brings many changes to the flight model, gunnery and targeting systems that I will list below, and this build also didn't include access to the persistent universe. It was specifically testing master modes in Arena Commander using only the Gladius. Now as we have heard, with the rollout of Alpha 320, they will continue to hold these master mode playtests throughout each wave, as and when they need to, and through into the live build as well, while they dial in this massive amount of changes that master mode brings. Now today I will be running through the patch notes, which gives a lot more context into what these changes are, but do be aware that this is just for one ship and just the initial set of updates, and based on our feedback and their data, they will continue to tune the system and the ships until it is where they want it. Now, just for clarity, the new Master Mode flight changes are not coming with the Alpha 320 PU, they are just in Arena Commander testing, as this will take a lot more time and effort to complete. Now for this patch, the testing focus for Master Modes was limited to Duel, Free Flight and the new Vanduul Swarm modes in Arena Commander, and 2 testing time slots were scheduled for players to jump in. For the flight model changes, these include tricording is no longer possible, with the strongest acceleration axis being forwards, which I believe is referring to the ability to move in 3 different directions at once, or at least along 3 different axes at once, but I'm not entirely certain on this, so if anyone can shed a bit more light into what tricording means in Star Citizen, please do let me know. Also, pitch and yaw cannot be combined anymore, the Gladius's agility was increased, and boost and regen was adjusted. And then for master modes, so to swap between navigation mode and space combat maneuvering, or SEM, you press B. And when you're in SEM mode, this provides high capacity regen rates, shields and weapons, but restricts maximum speed. And you can use the thruster boost to temporarily extend the speed above the SEM boundary. For nav mode, this allows for higher speeds, but no shields or weapons, plus it heavily reduces the regeneration rates. Now when going from SEM to navigation mode, the shield face health is stored in a buffer up to a certain ratio, and then when you go back from nav to SEM, that buffer will be quickly pushed back into the faces, after which it will start regenerating, with the generation from that buffer being uninterrupted by incoming fire. So it somewhat stores a percentage of your shields, so that once you come back to SEM from nav mode, it isn't recharging from 0 again. It could be from 25%, 50%, whatever they decide upon. Plus that regeneration is not altered by any of the incoming fire. And do bear in mind that swapping between nav mode and SEM mode, it is not immediate, it will take time, so it is a decision you have to make. Now for the gunnery changes, they have enabled a new aiming system, combined fixed assist was removed, fixed assist per gun was added, and for auto gimbal mode it says instead of keeping the target in a 8-degree cone, you only need to keep your target roughly around your aim point and the gimbals will track. And when the auto gimbals are not tracking, they will then act like manual gimbals. Also, fixed mode now has 1 pip per projectile speed group, so if you're using energy weapons versus ballistics, depending on the speed of each projectile for those weapons, that will group them together. Manual gimbal mode now also has fixed assist for each gun. They have added an option to show precision lines, as well as the option for auto gimbal display, which is focused on average pip or focused on the target with gimbal position indicators. It says they have also drastically increased ballistic ammo, which I know is a big one for a lot of people. A size 3 gimbal will now hold a size 3 gun, but there is a penalty. I'm assuming this is likely the movement speed, so how fast it can gimbal with what size weapon. If you hold a size 1 weapon on a size 3 gimbal, it will gimbal quickly, size 2 a little slower, size 3 much slower. And I think the intention going forwards is to allow any gimbal to hold any size weapon, but the restriction being the speed at which they can gimbal if it's a bigger weapon, if that makes sense. There is also new custom weapon stats for the Gladius's weaponry, and the shield layout for the Gladius is now just front and back. So some quite significant changes there. For me, it's mostly stuff I need to test and see how it feels before passing judgment on it. Because on paper, it sounds like there is quite a few pros and cons here, but when you test it all together, obviously it needs to make sense. So once we get in and actually give it a go, I'll make a judgment call then. And then finally, there are some targeting changes as well. For the buttons, R is now closest target, T is cycle hostiles in view, and number 5 is cycle all in view. For auto-targeting, it says if no target is present, or if you press left alt plus R, the closest visible hostile will be targeted. Targets will automatically swap if a better target is in view, and any manual target control will cancel that process. They have also added bindings to allow setting the default convergence distance directly from an input axis, with UI for this coming at a later date. That sounds quite interesting. And finally, they have added bindings to suppress aim assists as long as the button is held, and you use it when you feel that aim assist is working against you. Now this is quite interesting, as if saying that aim assist is not just an auto aim feature, more of a function that is not always optimal for the situation, and you will need to actively manage that, which I do like the sound of. So there you have it, that was the first Evocati build for Alpha 320, with a new build actively in development now that will open up the persistent universe with the Hull C, the updated cargo system, Seraphim Station, and more. But be aware that these changes are to be tested and tuned. They are not final. Even as the build opens up to more backers, they will continue to refine and amend them until they feel right. And as mentioned, this will take a while, as they are only testing it with the Gladius at this time, and will need to thoroughly test when the rest of the ships get tuned as well. And with that said, this is only for Arena Commander experimental modes. These changes will not be functional in the persistent universe for 320, but I am certainly looking forward to jumping into Arena Commander when that becomes available, and seeing how much of a difference they make to how combat feels. As always, I will continue to cover the Evocati patch notes as the patch remains with the Evos, so be sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss out on them. Come and hang out over at twitch.tv/supermacbrother. I will be live later today, probably continuing on with my Twitch 0 to Hero, seeing how much we can make. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind, it does the channel a big favour, and tick that notification bell if you'd like to be notified when my videos go live. Again, a huge thank you to my patrons and channel members. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.